Adam, here's a question that literally, I don't know if it's basically before COVID, after COVID, or what's going on. Um, why is it so difficult these days with Tab to basically get them scheduled, get the done, get the report? What is going on, do you think?
Oh, testing, adjusting, and balancing. So I started out in this business back in the day in 1980. Yes, I'm that old. And it's difficult for several reasons. One, straight up, there is just a shortage of tab people, period, who can turn up and let alone know what they're doing. So there's always a shortage of people, right? Two, it's a soft service, right? It's intangible. It's not like you're delivering a physical product. You're delivering a series of adjustments and measurements to get the system working. So because it's intangible, people don't know what it is. They don't know how to quantify it. They don't know how to manage it, right? So you wind up with programmers putting in different things in the schedule, right? And it's always the thing, it's at the end of everything. So when the tab person comes, as a commission authority, when I arrive on site, I always make friends with the tab person because they come at the end of installation. They know where the dead bodies are. They know what's working and not working, and no one's listening to them. So I take them guys out for coffee and I interrogate them. And by the end of that coffee, I know everything that's wrong everywhere on them systems. But it's difficult because they're not giving enough time. They're not giving enough resources. There's not enough good people around. And frankly, you can turn on a heating and cooling system without tab, and 80% of the time, you would never know it hadn't been set up properly or balanced, right? It's only on them edge cases, them edge days where it matters. So it's really hard to have the main contractor, the GC, get excited about it. Because as far as he's concerned, the heating's on, the cooling's on, let's go, right? So it's a low consequence. It's only high consequence if something goes wrong, and it's low consequence 80, 90% of the time. So literally no one gives a flying hiff about it. Now, the way the specifications try to deal with that is they write in a spec where you can't hand it over unless I've got a certified tab report signed off by the professional engineer, right? But the problem is when the job's really busy and everyone wants to get it signed off and they want, TCO, no one cares. No one asks, right? So, if I was a lawyer, I'd go and say, did the professional engineer sign this report off? 8 times out of 10, the answer would be no. But, I'm not a lawyer, and most people don't get pulled up or held accountable for that. So just to be clear, it is the contractors and general contractors' job to get the tab done, and it is the professional engineer's job to review it and sign it off before occupancy. Never happens.
No. Oh, no. So, what about, so not many people, I'm going to say this, not many people really ever take the tab side. And let's say like controls. I believe it or not, I take more of the control side and more of the tab side, over the contractors, because it's just like they're like everybody's waiting for one thing to get done. They're rocking this wall, they're doing this wall, they're doing this, they're doing this, they're closing this, so they're closing that, and then tabs person going,
yeah,
right, just like us. I mean, how many times do you book your plane the night before when we don't know? Oh, we have to. Same with them, and then they get yelled at. And like I said, it's like I'm not defending what I am, kind of, because I've seen lately a lot of tab folks that I think they're trying to do their job, but they just can't do their job, and then they're being forced to do their job fast, right? In a specific environment that basically it's a moving target, and when the VAB boxes, when everything is not, I'm just seeing like so many things that are messed up that it's like you can't get stuff done. And more of these systems, I'm starting to see that they're so all connected. It's like instead of basically having like, this part of the system is valved off, this one over here, so it can work independently. It's good because you're saving more energy, but it's bad because it's almost like it's one big system. And if it goes wrong, it all goes wrong. So
let's talk about real politic here, right? So the reality of life is this: the tab firm are a sub-consultant to a subcontractor, right? Or a subcontractor to a subcontractor. So they're so far down the food chain as to be invisible, right? 2, they will not bite the hand that feeds them, i.e. they will not fall out with the person who pays their check. So if that person says, I know you need a month, but I want it done in a week, they're going to go, of course I'll do it in a week, right? Because they want to get paid. So they're going to do that. and they're going to
But what
cut
about when we check it?
corner
It's wrong.
because it's wrong. It's totally wrong. But there's no consequence for that action, right?
Yeah.
This is a problem. Life is a game of incentives and disincentives, and there's no consequences for doing that, right? Now, I personally think the future of TAB is this, and I gave a talk at the AABC annual conference in 2019, and my talk was about how TAB is going to go away and be automated. Do you know how many people clapped for me? None. It was no hands clapping, right? Because like I'm basically saying all your jobs are going away. But what I meant was there's this perfect storm now of impossible schedules, low baby boomers retiring en masse with not enough people behind them, low skill sets.
Yep.
The answer is going to be what I would call the confluence of 5G, Internet of Things, better, simpler engineering solutions. And you're going to have, for example, a cooling system, a chill water system with valves that are connected to the internet, and you can measure in real time delta T, flow rate, pressure drop. And you're going to balance that using an algorithm in the future.
So basically the Geek Squad and everything's going to be automated. It's going to be fault detection. It's going to be, so no more humans.
Humans are going to be reduced drastically down to maybe 20% of what they are now. And it's going to become a verification of the technology game. And then the commissioning people will then be the tuners. They will tune those algorithms. That's the future, in my opinion.
Well, no, it's funny you say that because a contractor a couple of years ago said, so how do you feel like working yourself out of a job? And I'm like, well, the last time I looked, humans build buildings and they make mistakes. I'm like, until Amazon starts basically dropping drones off and they start basically Battlestar Galactica with all the, what are they called? I can't remember the name of I just watched it.
The Cylons.
Cylons, right? And so they're like you never know. I mean, but probably not in my lifetime, maybe not in yours, but.
I can tell you. So there's a job in London I know of. I'm not working on, but I know someone who is. And on the heating and cooling systems, all the valves are IoT enabled. And they are doing exactly that, commissioning, balancing it by algorithm, and then optimizing the system on a commissioning. So the commissioning engineer is going to be looking at the system in real time, setting the optimum set points.
So they're doing monitoring based
algorithms to tune
ongoing commissioning, like FDD, fault detection diagnostics.
So there's no balancing. So it's fan coils, reverse return fan coils, automatic. So every fan coil has one of these super duper fucking control valves on. The floor valve has an automatic balancing valve on it, right? And there's no balancing. So every cooling coil is addressable from the BMS, and you measure delta T, flow rate, and pressure drop in real time.
So they have a lot of sensors in there. Yeah.
So because the price of those sensors is falling exponentially every year.
Oh no, it is. You're exactly right. There's the smart buildings, high performance buildings. I mean, with commissioning, we're totally tied in. When people ask me, I'm like, I've been working on smart buildings for over 12 years. I'm like, from when I was in grad school running a lab to basically now, where it's like GUIs, clap on, this. Tell people whenever they talk about digital twins and smart buildings, I'm like, yes, all they are a lot of sensors that basically IoT, Internet of Things, they basically talk to everybody. Everything's talking. The scary part is what happens when we have a little glitch or we have like a little power surge. That's when I'm going to go to this little example. When my phone goes out, I don't know numbers. I'm going to give you a little last closing thing here. It's scary. I was at the airport a couple weeks ago, and my girlfriend dropped me off, right? And as soon as she drops off, I left my phone charging in her BMW in her little console because she just got a car and it charged. So I was like, this is cool. She drove up. I go, ah! You know what I mean? I'm trying to chase her down because I'm at the airport. I'm like, I don't know her cell. I don't know how to contact her. You know what I had to do? I had to get on my computer. I had to get on Teams. I had to hit her up and go, please, Sid, please come back. That's how I feel whenever it's IoT, everything. I get scared.
So the future of TAB is digital, and the future of engineering is going to have to up its game, because in that scenario, just take that fan coil unit system, there has to be a design. It has to be designed so when it fails, it still works to some degree. Like it fails with the valves open, right? Manual,
it's going to default. It's going to go, of course. But like, okay, last thing. My truck, it's only like 7 years old, right? So it's one of those little turn dial for, park and run, right? So when my truck, and it has ran out of gas, I'm sorry, I've done that, right? It ran out. I can't even put it in neutral. I can't even push my own truck out of the way.
Oh yeah. That's the cars are basically iPads on wheels now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
There you
get
go. That's the one. That's the money shot to finish on. iPads on wheels. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I just screamed on tape. So,
That future.
but it's the truth, man. Like every time something gets more smarter, something goes out, you're like,
Yeah.
like the phone, dude. I literally my plane left in like 45 minutes. She dropped me off. I'm like, how am I going to contact her? I didn't know her number. The only way I found it was I went to her email, and thank God she put her number on there. And then I basically team messaged her, and I'm like, you got my phone. And then,
Yeah, no, that's a fucking.
I mean, I was like in panic attack. I mean, like I was gonna gone for 4 days without my phone. I'd been dead.
Yeah.
I don't even know, like buildings, when they go out, like when we lose energy information systems, energy management systems, BIS systems, like we're like, how does the building run?
So that has to be a design criteria and the design process, right? Right. A design for comms failure. So do the valves fail open? Because that's the problem, right? When comms go off, control valves either shut or
what are you gonna go max? You're gonna go max cooling, max heating?
Nothing, right? So everything just fails open. Yeah.
No, you're exactly right. But then if you lose a comm and you lose electronics, I mean, and then you see what I mean? It's just, it goes further and further and further. And, mission critical will have all the ATSs, all the switches, all this, all that. But I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how many times that we've tested for this, but when it goes down and it goes down, like think about it, how many times have you really ever done a pull the plug on everything?
Oh, we do that. So in British spheres of influence, that's a test you have to do in the commissioning. Black building test.
On different systems, right? But there are always systems that don't come back on that you're like, they're not mission critical.
Yeah.
I'm saying, you have to do it with the big ones, but academic building goes out, people go home.
This is my question when I do my first design shred. I said, I want a list of mission critical systems for you so that we make sure they're on the generator and we got, provision for failure.
Have you ever had lights that go through like Crestron or Dolly systems that basically have a power module? When they go out, it doesn't actually go through like it should. Oh my God. Like lighting systems, millions of dollars of crap. You know what I mean? That, I don't know how many lighting systems I walk in. I'm like, okay, blah, 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 blah. I'm working on right now. One has like $2 million of a lighting system throughout, 41 stories. And you know what they gave them? A 6-inch HMI screen in the electrical room. And that's how they tune their entire system. And I'm like, this is bullshit.
Yeah, that's 1990s bullshit as well.
Exactly. It needs to be on. And they're like, well, you're right. It needs to be here. I go VPN, this. You know how many times I actually have to say server access, VPN, get inside, do this. Yeah. We're still living in like the 90s.
Yeah, the construction is so slow to change.